Hi, hello and welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial we will play around a little bit with the background. As you can see from the last tutorial, I changed the background of the heading. So we're going to play around slightly with how you can do the background and make some more property changes here, and then we will also going to take care of this white space underneath the image. And we will also learn how to apply a text shadow in CSS. So these are some of the items to be covered in this tutorial. So first of all, let's go back to our document here. So this is our CSS document. In this document, we have the background image right here, which is the background bgtitle.jpg. Now that image is much larger than what it appears right now. So what I want through CSS, I want this image to appear and cover the entire background area. I want CSS to be able to do that for me. So just like we used in the past here a background size property where I used 100% width and I used the 550 pixels height, we also have another value for background size property, and that's called cover. Cover up the whole region. So now if I refresh my output, you will see that most of the image, whatever image could fit in, the entire width of the image is now coming up right over there. Now, as opposed to, there is another property called contain. The contain will actually shrink the whole image down to a small size, and you may have to use to stop the background repeats so it doesn't repeat itself over and over again. So contain is used if you have a smaller image and it will not going to fill up the whole area. You only want it to be, the height should be adjusted to the height of the image. So you can use contain for that reason, and without having to, again, with contain, you have to set the background no repeat. So here we have this background like that over here. Now I want my CSS effects amazing stuff, because it's partially coming over this laptop, I want it to be actually moved to the left. So to do that, I'm going to come back here and text align will be changed to left. But now I will notice here that it's way far left. So I'm going to add some padding here. So to push it away from the left only, so I'm going to add padding left. Padding left. So now you can see it slightly pushes it away from the left hand side. So that allows me to change the alignment, the background size, and the padding left. Now let's learn to add text shadow so that this particular text just stands out a little bit more than what it does right now. So the text shadow effect, it's called text shadow. So the text shadow basically requires 4 properties. The first one is the shadow color. So if I have a whitish text and I want to give it dark gray, so I can use an RGB combination of some dark gray color, as you have learned in the past tutorials, that in order for you to produce a gray color, you got to give all 3 RGB the same value. So here I have produced a gray color. Now I need to come up with my offsets. So I want this color to be 6 pixels offset from the actual text. So it'll be 6 pixels to the right of the actual text. And I want it to be pushed down, which is called the offset Y. So I want it to be pushed down 5 pixels. And this particular shade, then I can come up with my blurring. So if I want my blurring to be 1 pixels, so my blurring will going to be set to 1 pixel. It's going to be only 1 pixel blur. So now with all these changes in place, I will going to refresh my output. I want you to closely look at this text. CSS effects amazing stuff. Okay, have your eye right here as I refresh. Okay, and as you can see, the background CSS effects. You can see it more clearly right here. Let me highlight it. Let me select it so that you can see the blur effect. And as you can see, it's 5 pixels down and 6 pixels to the right. So if you want it to be closer to the actual text, then use smaller numbers. So for example, if I come out here and I say I want it to be 2 pixels with 1 pixel blur. So now you can hardly see it. But let me take it off. Let me just remove this line altogether. And now notice that effects is more flatter than in the presence of this line. it stands out slightly. So it just gives some kind of an effect so the text stands out a little bit more. That's basically what text shadow does. So it allows to give some shadow. Now let's take care of that extra space out here underneath the image. So when you're using things in a span, so since I have my images in the span, so spans always tend to take the space of the size of the container, the items that they're containing. So they always sometimes end up leaving a little bit of space. So what I want is, I want my image to not share its space within the span with nobody else, because in a span you can put multiple items, because span is also a container. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to go down to my images, so which is my pick 1 and pick 2, and I'll use a property display block. Just like we've used property display table cell, table row, and table, there's another display property called block. Now this would block any other item to come into the same line as this picture. So after I do this, let me refresh, and you can see, voila, this image space has been taken care of. So this is how you can go about applying the properties. And again, we will going to, in our next tutorial, work with the images, and we'll see how you can apply different effects to these images. I'll catch you in the next tutorial.